top.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
I just hit like so.
Oh.
It's an issue that I don't think is an issue. Anyway, hi guys, how's it going?
Hi, everybody. Say hi, Dr. Samuel. No? Okay.
Oh, hi, Dr. Samuel.
Yes. Yes. There we go. Okay. What's going on, everybody?
What's that?
No, I say, what's going on, everybody?
I know. I'm saying to them, what's up?
Okay, cool. I don't even see who you're talking about, but if it pops up again, I'll look at it. Yes!
Oh, I'll just send them to you real quick.
Sci-fi! Many sci-fi, Stuart. I suggested something like this because we had such a fun time talking about everything. We did Orville yesterday, but to other stuff as well. So it might be fun to kind of go further, you know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about all sci-fi in general, well, our favorites anyway. And if you guys have any you'd like us to talk about, by all means, let us know. We really appreciate your input. So
Yes.
super chats are important, as you guys know.
They make us go. Packlet style. It's true. And that's okay. And did you like how I knew enough to include a Transformers Gen 1?
I did.
Okay.
Transformers Prime, but I'll talk about that with Transformers. But good,
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I thought it was gonna be in there. Oh.
Yeah, I was surprised to see it, but happy to see it at the same time.
And I went back and listened to some of your guilty pleasures again to include something from that. I thought that'd be a fun visual one. So.
Ooh, you've been listening.
Yes, because I don't want to ask you what your favourite shows were, because that then demystify the thing we'll go do later on. When we have a bit more time in our schedules for a top 10 dealing with our favourite sci-fi shows of ever. This will be ones from our childhood, ones from adultness. There's plenty nowadays, and I've done a rather extensive list of them, so I have a nice lot to pick from, and I'm super interested to see what our 10 would be. Because boy, the variety, you know, I mean, where is the line of what is a, you know, what is a sci-fi? I said this to someone earlier today, and I know you would disagree, but you know, Knight Rider, I wouldn't class that as sci-fi at all. It's just an advanced car, but technically it is. It's like Lord of the Rings is technically sci-fi, even though it's fantasy, but because it's like no, they're separate. Or like a, you know, Iron Man 3 sci-fi. It's like no, it's not. It's separate, but it is, but it isn't. So.
It is, but it isn't. Yeah, it's an umbrella thing. Even Airwolf would fall under that.
Yeah, and so if they're in your top 10 sci-fi, I'd be like, okay, I get it, but at the same time, they're not quite as sci-fi as they could be. So,
no, I feel you.
But that's not the point of that. Top 10 will be, you know, what means a lot to you. And yes, Bill, because of the new Paramount Plus, yes, I guess Paramount Plus Halo is starting in the UK as of today. One of my convention friends was at the launch event, and he got to be in a Discovery chair and be beamed and a few things. And there's currently a big old rail strike, so I could have gone, but it just wasn't really worth the time or effort. Especially as it probably lackluster. And if it isn't like very busy, then just in theory, you know, sometimes you go to an event and the thing to do is like 6 minutes if it's not busy. You just got to walk straight through. It's like, oh, that was fun. Oh, I came for that. Huh. You know, it happens sometimes. Doesn't matter how cool it is. They just kind of want to. Whereas if there's like a crowd and you kind of get the anticipation, you see the pre-zone. Like I think part of the Galaxy's Edge Star Wars Millennium Falcon ride is actually waiting in the lobby bit and seeing all the different stuff and listening, and that's part of it. If you just walked straight through, you wouldn't even notice it. So.
Yeah.
It's just a side note. So I'm going to start sharing because I'm tangenting already.
Go for it.
See you in a minute.
Go for it. 29 people here, 21 likes, guys. Hit that like button. We're going to be talking about sci-fi today, kind of our favorite stuff. So if there's anything you guys want to chime in with, super chat. We will read them all on the air, and we do talk about each one in detail. So please help us lead the conversation. And yeah, don't forget tonight at 10 o'clock, I have my first reaction to part 6, I guess, of Obi-Wan, the finale. So join me tonight at 10 p.m. or 10:30, depending on what time I'm done D&D. for that. So also consider joining the channel. There's a join button there. It helps us out on a monthly basis, so it's kind of like a monthly subscription. If you can, please do. Or you can head on over to Trekyards or Patreon/Trekyards as well to help us monthly there. Lots of ways to help us out, help out the channel. Just hitting like is a great way though, so please hit like. We want to hear your ideas for sci-fi discussions, so please super chat those in. We would want to discuss them, absolutely. If you're watching this after the fact and you missed it live, by all means, consider sending a super thanks. It is a way to do a super chat, but with not on a live. So if you can help us there, please do so as well. Also, don't forget there is a sale on right now for the T Public store. There you can get yourself some cool Trekyards merch. It is they actually have a sale on right now. It's 35% off, so it's actually a great time to go check that out. So click that T Public link down below and check out some of our Trekyards merchandise. We got a lot of cool stuff. There's a few mugs and stuff I want to take advantage of getting during the sale as well. So by all means, you guys go check out and see what you guys want to get as far as Trekyard stuff goes. We got a lot of cool stuff, and there's more stuff going to be coming soon. So it is worth making that distinction as well. We're going to be having some new merchandise coming in soon. So keep an eye out for it and go check that out. Also, there are links, affiliate links to Eagle Moss and stuff where you can save yourself some money by using the discount code Trekyards10. So if you want to pick up some Eagle Moss ships, we will partner with you guys essentially to help you out. So please consider doing so. We really want. Dan Ben is the fiery person Ghost Rider the movie. Yes, it is. So yeah, discussing sci-fi is going to be fun. There's a lot of sci-fi out there and a lot of different things for different people, different strokes for different folks. So we are going to look forward to talking about all of that today. So, oh look, Samuel's back.
Samuel's back. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, Mark Lawrence throws in $6.
Ooh.
Can only stay for a bit, but throwing in my support. Well, thank you so much, Mark. That support means everything. And like I told everybody else, if you want us to talk about anything in particular sci-fi wise, we do read all the super chats on the air and we do discuss them. So anything you want to throw out there, super chat it up and we will discuss it for sure.
And so in a sense, it's also vaguely a Q&A. We'll have our own discussion points, but you can curveball us into something else specific. And I am taking notes for properties that we haven't thought of that we discuss on later times. I think we both want to do a top 10 movies and TV shows, and they both can be very different, so throwing stuff in is good. But Bill says, have you seen Lightyear yet? I have not seen Lightyear. Have you seen it yet?
I have not either, not yet. No.
Did you
I do want to see it, though.
Okay. It definitely feels like a watch on TV movie. Doesn't feel like a go see it in cinema for whatever reason to me.
No, I agree with that, yeah, 100%. But I do want to see it. That's really interesting.
I didn't even realise that Chris Evans was playing Lightyear, not the original guy, because they don't not sound dissimilar. They don't not sound alike. I just wasn't thinking about it. I think I was so taken up by the fact that graphics, like, holy hell, woohoo, look at this, versus here's a toy. I like it. Excited to see him use his hand laser, all the things.
Yeah, when I first saw that movie was coming out, I'm like, is Tim Allen going to do the voice, really? And no, it's not. So it's fine. It's a movie adaptation. It's fine.
I thoroughly enjoyed his animated series, though. I thought it was remarkably clever for what it was. So
yeah.
That
was the 90s, wasn't it?
Would have been early 2000s, right? Early.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It was just fun to see Zurg be the actual villain versus a toy. Yeah. Oh, so when did that come out?
Yeah, I could swear it was the late 90s, but
I would say 2003 if I was to guess. 2001. Okay. So.
Ooh, it's a space odyssey.
Yeah.
That was good. Come on now.
But that had Patrick Warburton from American Dad played the voice, who was also very good.
Yes.
Very, Oh, yeah, I recognise the second lady. Oh, God, Stephen... Yeah, wow. The robot was... Huh. My God, all four of the main cast on that show are really famous actors. My God. Like, for other things. Good job, guys. Yes.
All right. Well, um, so what do we want to start with? How do we want to do
Well,
this?
that is the question. I mean, I guess start with the basics. If you said taking Star Trek out of the running, if there was one other sci-fi, what does sci-fi mean to you? What jumps to your brain straight away as like a first reaction?
Star Wars.
Okay, which part of Star Wars? No, because Star Wars is a very broad thing now. It used to just be, you had 6 movies and lots of books. Now it's like, oh god, because we used to be
The
Trek.
original Star Wars.
Yeah, it used to be Trek was we had the 700 episodes, and you had 6 movies, and now it's like, and they've got shows, or they can't possibly catch up. I mean, 6 in a season, and they would play 6 in a season back in the day. Anyway, so which part of Star Wars, if I said then, means to you? What is the nugget of means to you of it that you would gravitate towards in that first reaction list?
R2D2 and C3PO in the first movie. That's immediately would pop into my head for sure. But if I couldn't think of Star Trek, that's what it would be. So, yeah, the droids, the robots, the sci-fi, not of this worldness of it. So yeah. How about you? Would yours wouldn't be Stargate, would it?
Not as a first reaction. I think Star Wars would also be my first reaction, just because it's more simply good in that you look at Luke right there, that picture, like you have so many good feelings of what that story means to everybody and people and journey of hope, la la la. Stargate is a complex like character piece. You don't look at Jack and think, haha, hope and positivity. So I think Star Wars would also be my if I had to pick one. I wouldn't say the droids for me personally, but that's just because we collect different things there. For me, I guess Luke, the variations of Luke.
Okay.
But with a caveat to the X-wing, and that whole side of it, the space designs, the X-wing I like especially. But
the ships immediately pop into my mind right after the droids, though. So
yeah, I mean, even still watching the Death Star fight, it's so well choreographed. It's so well the CG of it not being CG. It still holds up. That was I wasn't there at the time to visualize it, but I was still young enough when I watched it that I understood it was so much better than most other things.
Yeah. And Sebastian puts in €2 and says, in other words, if not Trekyards, what else? Fleet yards.
Yeah.
Fleets of ships.
Well, there is so many Star Wars YouTubers. I mean, some of those make millions a year. The big ones. It's because the Trek. It's funny because Trek there was books, but they go back so far and so varied. Star Wars, it was kind of this constant stream of books, and they kind of expand on each other. Like I think I've told you before, in my early 20s, I listened to audiobooks, 109 in a row in order. They were all continuations in thematic year, and so I felt like I knew everything from prequel to whatever because I kind of listened to so much. It was very visceral. It was very like there you go. It was more cohesive and it was a very straight line. Then you got the games and such, and so if you pull from that stuff, whereas a lot of the Star Trek books, they're just kind of like I instantly think to those New World novels in the TMP era with the weird ships and just like I don't know what the hell's going on with those. Like you don't think of those as being part of that. Like you have your own book series that makes sense, but Star Wars it kind of feels like got a much more straight line of books. Star Trek it kind of did everything, which therefore means you don't look at the recesses and say, well that's canon. Well, Spock did have 6 children, that must be canon. Yeah, it's a book. Like there's a different level of respect. So the Star Wars YouTubers can pull from all the book stuff, the legends, and it's so visceral and all the names and people, and that's why I'd throw out there just vaguely.
Yeah, and then there's that, like you said earlier, there's that fine line of is it sci-fi or is it not? Because, yeah, like Knight Rider is a good example. It's kind of a police procedural adventure A-teamy type show. Like you wouldn't consider the A-team to be sci-fi, but Knight Rider does the same thing. Only instead of a team of people, it's just him in a car. So yeah, but the sci-fi elements of Kit being sentient, and that kind of so to say sci-fi it invokes different things in different people. And some people will argue the fact that certain thing isn't sci-fi or whatever. but it is kind of under one umbrella. Sci-fi fantasy is that umbrella, and then it gets the subgenres mixed in there. So, yeah, it's kind of a tough one. Everybody thinks of it differently when they hear the term. So, you know,
it just seems odd to say to somebody, "What sci-fi can watch today?" Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
that's correct technically, even though there's no science and there's fiction. Blah blah blah. That's why I don't consider Marvel science fiction. It has sci-fi elements in it, but it's its own thing. It's so unique. I mean, Captain America 1, it's a World War II film with some advanced tech. And yes, technically it's alien tech, blah blah blah, but it doesn't factor to me because it just devalues what Star Wars sci-fi is. They're so different that I want to give them their own genre, the comic book movie, because you wouldn't say Star Wars is a comic book movie. That doesn't factor at all.
Yeah, a lot of people make the argument that Star Wars is, it's science fantasy, not science fiction.
But there's a lot more fiction in it than Lord of the Rings,
yeah, exactly,
or Knight Rider.
Exactly.
Stargate's interesting because Stargate, their whole premise is kind of like Knight Rider in a sense. It's one premise is one bit of advanced tech, and in the first season it's far more grounded. But as they go on, once they're their own ships, you can't. It's obviously full sci-fi once you have space battles, and it evolves into sort of sci-fi fantasy, sci-fi historical, I should say, then sci-fi as it goes on. But it's all sci-fi. It's just it's nice to, I think, subcategorize. Otherwise, it's really it's really unhelpful. Because if you said favorite sci-fi movies of all time and Lord of the Rings is number 3, you've cheated the list. You should be proud of that.
Yeah.
And even The Matrix, that's a fine line because I don't associate it with the science fiction elements. It's the actions, the characters, it's the vibe. It is a sci-fi, but I don't class those, especially as, everything kind of feels like steampunk, like gritty. It doesn't have that same fantastical. It is, but I wouldn't even class it necessarily as sci-fi if I was thinking best sci-fis, necessarily.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, everybody's definition is so skewed, but...
Yeah, I googled here, and Jurassic Park is on popular sci-fi films. It's like, right. Yes.
Well, technically it is science fiction.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the most science fiction.
Yeah, I was going to say it probably fits the mold better than most, to be honest. Because it's possible.
Yeah.
So, guys, we don't really want to start here. Let's have somebody super chat with an idea. The first show we could talk about, which will lead into other things. Because there's so many on the list here that, I mean, like, you could even jump down the rabbit hole and go, like, Futurama is science fiction, even though it's a cartoon and more comedy based. There's a few comedies that are science fiction based as well, like Resident Alien and a few other things like that.
30 Rock, I mean, there's an alien in it, but it's not really a sci-fi show in that context. But I mean, Futurama is totally sci-fi because exactly. But everything about Futurama is sci-fi though. That's almost the most sci-fi. Everything, 100% of it is sci-fi.
Yeah.
Except the first 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Well, one of the ones that came into my mind that I would have wanted to put on a list probably is Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix. But that's hard because that's an anthology series. They just released season 3 and it's fantastic. It's really, really great storytelling, and they're condensed stories. Like, the longest ones are like 15 minutes. You can basically watch a whole season in a night because, some of them are 6 minutes long, some are 10, some are 15, but they're all different premises, different animation styles, but they're all very sci-fi in their storytelling. So I absolutely love Death and Robots. Absolutely love Death and Robots. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. I keep not having heard of that until someone reminds me, and I forget about it, and then I remind about it.
You need to watch it. You will love it, dude.
Okay.
And it's very bite-sized. You could probably watch 2 or 3 and then be sucked in. So
yeah.
And it's different animation styles for each one too. So some of the really top CG animations are really great. So
yeah. Super chat, throw us in the deep end with something. We will debate it, discuss it, and talk.
And eventually we'll split it down to TV shows. Like not in this live. This is just going to be everything, like TV shows and movies. But there's definitely that distinction there. We could even do a top 10 favorite movies spin-off into shows.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah,
a lot of the big ones had some spin-offs that didn't go so well.
That's a great idea.
Some of them, like Stargate Stargate is the most successful spin-off that's into a TV series ever. It's way better than the movie. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, honestly. So, yeah.
I won't say anything on that. Because then technically Obi-Wan Kenobi is a spin-off to the movies as well. All those are, but I mean directly. There's a really fine... That'd be a really fun one, actually. Yeah. Oh, did you ever watch Blade, the series?
No, I didn't, actually. I was going to, but never did actually get around to watching it.
I did enjoy it. Doesn't mean it was good.
I just don't think anybody else but Wesley Snipes can really pull that off. I love Wesley Snipes in that role.
The confusing thing about that show is that Blade's not the main star. It's this lady.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. She's good in it, but he's not actually the star, because it's kind of hard to have a immortal, unbeatable killer with no emotion as your lead. So he's not the lead. Yeah, it's weird.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a bait and switch, but they do craft a fun story that evolves nicely. From what I recall, it was a very long time ago.
You say that, but that's like... She's the audience analog. Nah.
Sure.
Like, I hate that shit, though. Like, Transformers. I don't need humans in my Transformers to make me relate to the Transformers. I could watch a whole Transformers series that's all on Cybertron with no humans.
Could you, though?
I could watch a movie like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But without conflict? Like, without just being a big fighty show? Because we've talked about this before. Like, they don't eat, they don't drink, they don't sleep.
Decepticons.
Yeah, how many times...
It wouldn't be... You don't need a human. You don't need Spike. You don't need fucking Sam Witwicky in it to be like...
Well, live action is different, though,
Look, I can be part of this adventure. No, you don't need that.
Because there weren't any humans in the animal version. Because there couldn't be.
Beast Wars, no.
But they also had a lot more... I remember that being a lot more resource limited. They actually had to do like missions just to live. So it was a lot more...
Yeah.
There was that... being on Cybertron, you wouldn't have those limitations. I think it'd be... You have to find a really specific niche on that.
Well, it's the Cybertronian Wars, so it would be a war story just set on Cybertron.
Yeah.
Anyway, they kind of did that with the Netflix series.
Yes.
So.
Matt says, was the Blade show better than Blade Trinity?
I like Blade Trinity. That's a guilty pleasure movie for sure. There's a lot of good aspects to that film. And for me, right?
Those sci-fi, those are fantasy, but technically they've been in the same realm. I think my favourite's Blade 2. Blade 1 is excellent, and Blade 3, I think... I remember watching it straight after Blade 2 and be like, oh god, what did they do to this? Like, I watched it back-to-back in a night, like, oh, let's go oh god. And hearing the stories of how like Wesley was just treating everyone's set just like garbage, and you can see confusing.
And Bill Barkley makes a good point. I was going to say this. Beast Wars has cavemen in it. Yeah, they have Neanderthals.
Oh, okay.
One of them was actually the female was named Una. That was her name. So, but yeah, that was like season 3 though. So,
right. Yeah, I saw it sporadically as a kid. I can't quote anything from it, but I know I liked it. I liked it. And yeah, Sequest DSV, that's on the list as well. Yeah, Blade 3 needs to be more violent. All the cast are really good because Ryan Reynolds, Jessica Alba, and the guy from Prison Break, all of them are great actors. The hell do you make that movie? It's gone to talent. Although it was Ryan Reynolds, like the first time I saw him, I think, was that. I think.
Denver Brock throws in $5 and says an early favorite for me was the cartoon Exo Squad and Macross Robotech. See, I remember seeing Exo Squad, but I don't know much about it. And Macross and Robotech, yeah, I'm familiar with the mechs and stuff, but I've never got into it. I can't really do anime. I find so boring. As much as I love the visuals, I love the technology. The only anime I could get into was when they changed Gatchaman into Battle of the Planets, and I watched it when I was a kid because they Americanized it and made it more the storytelling easier. And now I'm a huge Gatchaman fan, but that's because I got hooked on Battle of the Planets, so it's not really the same thing. But it's kind of a rough one. So I can't really talk about Macross or Robotech. I've been told I should get into watching them, but And as for Exo Squad, like I said, I remember seeing it vaguely when I was a kid, but never really got into it either. Not to the point where I can talk about it.
I'm adding both these to the visual list. I've never heard of Exo Squad. It looks very, very 80s. All those hard lines of.
Absolutely.
I mean, cool suits.
They're basically toy commercials.
Yeah. I'm looking at a poster of a guy with an exo suit, and boy, he's got a lot of guns on him. He's got missiles on every minigun. Very, very aggressive. Although boy, that's also cool. And Macross again, I haven't. I mean, it looks amazing, but unless you're a big anime fan, I feel fine from when you were young. When do you ever feel like I'm going to start watching anime today?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, when do you ever go back and watch 70s movies or 60s movies? There's not often the vibe of, let's watch a black and white movie that we might enjoy. Which is funny then, when I do go back and actually watch old films from the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, and it's like, they're so different than anything made today, and also filmed so different. It's always a very interesting look into the past and see, there is a reason why they're classics, or, most because of scripting and the acting, everything else you can take with a pinch of salt, but when they achieve beyond what you associate with the era, it's like, oh, that's why that's a classic,
That's another subcategory for the sci-fi genre list is 80s cartoons. Because yes, Thundercats, Transformers, He-Man, they all could be considered sci-fi, but they're not necessarily the first things that would pop up in my brain, but yet they're some of my best memories from when I was a kid.
And again, is it fair to add one of those and remove a Battlestar Galactica if you have 10? Because often we have 10, and they then lower on the list things that could be higher. Nothing against them, just,
Like, there could be a favorite memories list, which could include that kind of stuff, but...
Although, obviously, for me, 80s cartoons have 0 in my history, so I'd just be listening the whole time. Stuart, also 10 80s, and I'd be like...
Exactly.
7! 6! and even, the 90s cartoons, like, they're not that memorable. I mean, there's a couple, but,
And then you got to get, like, there's the flashy sci-fi with lots of ships, lots of fighting, that kind of stuff. And then you get sci-fi that's more cerebral, more drama-based with, like, Quantum Leap. That's the whole purpose of the show. It's a sci-fi premise, yet they're all little self-contained stories.
Oh, that's true.
That have nothing to do with sci-fi. It's just dealing with bullies, dealing with, setting somebody's life on a better path. And yet, the whole premise of the show is sci-fi based. So it is sci-fi, but it's a different category. It wouldn't be in the same category as something like Lost in Space or something, or Firefly.
And that's really interesting as well. Yeah, I mean, Quantum Leap, it's obviously on the list because it's such a good show. But yeah, I mean, the whole premise is that it's not in the future. It's always in the past.
But it is from the future, but now it's the past because it was 1996, I think.
Well, no, but I mean, he's always in the past. You see very few flashbacks to him in the present of 1996 or whatever. It's like 92% in the past. That's the gimmick. It's in his lifespan. So by its very nature, it's a excuse to go back and do period shows.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the show, and I really can't wait to get a Blu-ray of it. It's just extremely expensive. I'd love to revisit that in HD because I think, Scott Bakula is so charming in that, and Dean
Stockwell.
Yeah, just brilliant.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're making a new one now, but it's like a continuation. It's not a remake, so I don't know how I'm going to feel about that.
Which, in fairness, I mean, if you get Sam home, and he's in it, and he's a professor, you've just helped improve the ending. I get why it's poignant, but come on.
Yep.
So I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm sure it'll be overly cynical and modern day. It won't have the same long lasting. There's a reason why the old shows are being brought back because they have a long last appeal that new stuff just doesn't. Mm-hmm. They're more purely made for the art often.
Well, there was an argument made online a little while ago that I really agree with. Stop remaking blockbusters. Stop remaking stuff like that did really well that you want to redo.
The ninth Batman.
Exactly, and focus on B movies that had a great idea but just completely bombed, and make that into a blockbuster. Something that now, with the money behind it and the storytelling, you can make really good. You don't have to remake Quantum Leap. You don't have to remake The Rocketeer. Just use B movies that did really poorly because they had no budget, but had a good idea, remake those into something new. Yeah, you don't have the name draw necessarily unless it's like a cult following or something. And it's not an established franchise. That's why they do it, because they know that there's fans of it that are going to migrate over. But what do you think about that idea of taking good premises for shows that just didn't have the budget to back it and make those into blockbusters instead of retreading all the old stuff and pissing people off because you change things?
Well, do you mean in TV feel or in movie feel? Do you say blockbuster? That's the very specific connotation. Which do you mean?
TV or movie, it doesn't matter. Like,
well, it does, because you can have mid-range TV shows that are just doing okay, like on CW, where it's like, oh, it's a show. Or you can have a big, it's sad the age of mid-budget films is kind of gone a little bit, or at least vaguely. I mean, that would be great, because a lot of those movies, especially from the 70s, 80s, aren't going to be remembered at all. And so they'll feel like fresh, and then you suddenly Google them and think, oh my god. But I do think that Quantum Leap has not had any lifespan past the show's ending. So for most people, that's a new, for most people of the newer age, that's a new show. Oh, it was an old show? Cool. You know what I mean? It's amazing how some things continue, some things don't, legacy-wise, even though we were there at the time. No, yeah, I mean, that's a fun idea. Just like with books, pick a good idea. But clearly all the different mediums are afraid to do new things, but then when they do new things, they often don't work, and that then teaches them the bad lesson of don't do new things. And it's like, well, yeah, but not all new things are created equal. That's why some work. I how many times can you watch The Batman? Clearly infinite. But there are so many good sci-fi films, often based on books, often whatever. Yeah,
it's one of those things, like, the reason they want to do it is to make money. That's the whole point of making things ever from corporations. So the built-in fan base, they automatically go, okay, we're going to take that and we're going to modernize it. We're going to change this, we're going to change that. And then eventually it's kind of unrecognizable sometimes. And when it finally shows, the fans that should have the money and be supporting your project are the ones that turn on you. That's all I'm trying to say, is that a lot of times, yes, you have a built-in fan base, but then you ostracize them. And that's not exactly the best way to go about doing things. So, I don't know.
Well, the name value gets you in the door, and if you lose 50% of your audience because it doesn't appeal to who was the audience, and you gain 50% of new young people who may stay around longer, but we're also in a different age where there is 5,000% more mediums to watch, look at, and just TikTok being, how many hours can people waste on TikTok, waste, quote unquote, versus television. So in the olden days, when you had 5 channels and the cinema was the big thing, when there was an event of a thing to watch, it stood out in people's minds, and it was this became a cult following. If you're having new things every day, every week, on every channel, on every network, on every the new fans, quote unquote, the chance of them picking up one thing in the same numbers that they did in the 80s, when there's a lot less.
Oh yeah, I've said that multiple times.
Yeah.
There's no shared experience watching something on network TV anymore, because you got streaming services and great shows, but it's like, have you watched this show? No, I haven't got around to it yet. It's on my list, because you didn't have to tune in Monday night at 9:00.
Whereas something like Star Wars or Star Trek, you have both the old people who were there at the start, you have their children who've been indoctrinated to like it, you have new people that like the idea of, well, now they've got a black lead or a female lead or an Asian lead, or those are going to grab new people, and then you've got people just like, I want to go to the box office and see something new. So you're grabbing all of the demographics in one go, which means it's more of a success. So I get the logic there, but this is why, if you're doing something in a universe, I'd rather be logical and be a good story over for the sake of it. Kenobi should have been because they had a story to tell rather than we want to make some money this week. That said, obviously, a lot of projects are made to make money for studios to make films that won't make as much money, because you need the 1.2 billion profit Avengers film to be able to fund the 5... 60. No, not just that, but like the 5, 6. Without those big blockbusters that rake in the hundreds of millions, you can't take risks on the smaller films that, with the smaller directors, are only going to get made because of the profits. Because they're not going to make. Because if a film only makes $10 million profit, you can't make a new film with that. So that means nothing for the overall health of the network. So you have to have the huge films that generate money for the small films to make their own small marks, and you hope that those things can either be good for careers, which then mean that you can hire them later for even more recognition, or for brand loyalty, or for streaming service. It's a whole different style now. That's why you've got to appreciate the big films, because they make the small films. Mm-hmm. If every film only made $5 million profit, nothing would ever get made.
True. Furious Fawns, $20. So thank you so much. Errors in SG-1, Children of the Gods bug me. Guy riding down in the elevator with O'Neill has both major and staff sergeant insignia on his uniform, and Kowalski is called major but wears captain's bars.
Yeah, he does. I remember Kowalski. Yeah, I mean they're all very good, but yeah, Children of the Gods. Yeah.
Area 51, $5. How about a new live-action He-Man movie?
I pictured that when you talked about it earlier, yeah.
100% on board for that. There's actually one in development, apparently. I know they've been saying that for years, but I've been reading up on it, and apparently it is going to be moving forward. So, yes, please, make it like the original show. That's all I have to say about that. Dolph Lundgren one was interesting. Got young Courtney Cox and a young Tom Paris in it.
I know it's a crap film, but I enjoy lots of it.
I do too. It's a guilty pleasure thing.
It's a crap film. It truly is. But the fact the main guy's giving it his all, and the fact they committed the costume so hard.
Yeah.
That's
one thing, one you don't have on the list here, which I should probably add, is Stranger Things.
See, I never seen it, and I wouldn't even call it sci-fi because I haven't seen it in the context. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it is sci-fi.
It's just some kids in the 80s. All I know about it. That's all I know about.
Part 2 of season 4 that comes out on July 2nd, so that'll be the finale. It's amazing. It's just everything about it's amazing. So anyway, won't say much about it considering you haven't seen it. So
it didn't grab me from the first trailer, so I never watched it.
People could make the argument it's more horror based.
Yeah,
it's kind of both.
Well, I always got the sense it was kind of a Ghostbusters style thing, like young Ghostbusters, like it's a team of people that fight sci-fi things. That's what I got from the media.
Not really, no.
And then maybe the main kid's magic.
It's worth checking out. I know you'll really enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate the storytelling in it for sure. So,
but I also know that I've heard that some people said the wait between seasons have been excruciating, so I get to skip that.
No, exactly. Yeah. Another one I mentioned earlier, The Rocketeer. Kind of steampunky, but it is science fiction-y in the fact that there's the jetpack before World War II kind of thing, and apparently they're going to be making a new Rocketeer. Now, I just recently heard that. I don't know if it's going to be a reboot or what it's going to be. It's a continuation. Apparently, both Bill Campbell and Jennifer Connelly were signed on to do at least a sequel and/or 2 more sequels, so they had a contract for that, but it just never kind of underperformed, so they didn't bother. So
it feels like a super niche film, like a super cult.
No,
like I always think it was like an indie film level of is that film that.
No. That's how it is. You don't understand the coolness of it. It's kind of like
I've never seen it, so. Yeah.
It's kind of like Captain America, the First Avenger. It's that feel, that era, but with some modern stuff, technology-wise.
Timothy Dalton apparently says the poster.
Oh yes, he was a good bad guy.
I wish Timothy was in more stuff. He's good. I like Timothy.
Yeah. Coolio Wolfus throws in £2. Paramount Plus UK started today. Strange New Worlds. Enjoy it.
So if you want to go back and watch all our Stranger Worlds content, there's lots of it. So binge Stranger Worlds tonight. Watch all 7. Jesus Christ. And then watch all our reviews. They're right there to be enjoyed.
Yeah, and a Tomb, I agree with you. A good live-action Thundercats is long overdue.
Made by some people who made the normal Cats movie, the CGI cat. Is that what you want, Stuart?
No.
Are you sure? You're sure?
I'm very sure.
Okay.
I just watched the Chip and Dale movie last night.
Is that a musical?
Chip and Dale? No. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. It's kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. There's a lot of other cartoons mixed in the movie. It's kind of funny, actually. People were poo-pooing on it, and I'm like, what's this all about? I got to see, because everybody says it's not that great. I went in and watched it, and I thought it was fantastic. So, as per usual, when people say it's shit, I usually really kind of enjoy it. So,
and Atom says, yes, Timothy Dalton was the best Rassilon. Yes, he was a very, very good Rassilon. And I mean, Milo said, yeah, Last Starfighter. That is shocking. Has never had a reboot.
They're making a new one.
They've been making one for years.
And it's a continuation. Yeah.
But that one though, I mean, I've got a soft spot for that. I don't know why. Just that needs to be done well, and it's such a Star Wars premise that it could just feel like a big high budget Star Wars. It's not Star Wars. It needs to have its own identity, like the first one had. Oh, yeah. I hope that's good, because it's a. I mean, just I like. I haven't watched it for a long time, but I like. If you from what I recall of it, I did watch a bit of it after I became CG brained. I remember thinking, wow, the 3D geometry of the Gunstars are great. So they built it, but there's no texture or anything, pretty much, like the asteroids. It's all just plain colours, because they couldn't do that, but they could do modelling. So it's a massive jump in that, but also everything's very, very, very badly.
To render it.
Yeah, it just takes memory to render textures. It doesn't so much with geometry for whatever reason. So I love that, like, it was one leap, and you couldn't do it without CG. Obviously, that's a. The Gunstar wouldn't work as a miniature. It's one move being possible as a miniature. I don't know how you could do it.
Matt Boorman, $10. The Rocketeer is one of my all-time favorite movies. Don't know what it is, but it just speaks to me. Yeah, it's the same with me. I don't know what it is. It's just something about that era, and just the look of the hero with the helmet and the jetpack.
Oh yeah, the helmet. Yeah.
Something about it really speaks to me as well. It is one of my favorite movies too, and yeah.
Well, that'd be fun to do, a review with you at some point. Watch it fresh.
Yeah. People are talking about The Boys. Have you seen The Boys?
No, I wait for Marie. That was a pandemic show.
Yeah. I'm halfway through season 2, and I kind of just stopped. I need to go back and finish, but. Which,
in fairness, was you with Babylon 5 as well, and other good shows. Just things come and go. So.
Yeah, things come up, and then I forget about it, and then it's like 9 months later, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot I was watching that. So, doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just.
I'm super excited. I've been actively avoiding everything about it. But I'm really excited to see it. I love the fact that Boimler's one of the leads. That makes me happy. So.
Yes.
See him as not Boimler.
Jack Quaid.
Yes. What a like 90s name is that? Jack Quaid. Sounds like
Ooh.
Sounds like one of the guy from Total Recall. Yeah. Hey, I'm Jack Quaid.
Yeah. Enemy Mine deserves some sequels to it as well. There's a whole series of stories about the Drax and the humans fighting. I've got the book. It's called The Alien Papers, and
Douglas Quaid.
There's a lot of potential there, and that movie's fantastic. If you haven't seen Enemy Mine, I don't know what's wrong with you, man.
Yeah, I also haven't. I know the look of it, but
I haven't seen it.
See, a lot of these things just weren't in the UK. Because remember, obviously TV was such that unless it was on, you didn't see it.
Yeah.
And Dad never watched it.
Yeah.
We never had it, so I never. And then obviously go to university. You don't think again. When do you think I'm going to go back and watch a low-budget '80s film that you might or might not enjoy? Who the hell knows? Probably would enjoy it, but you got other things you could watch, etc. So, but it's exciting in a way. It means you can go back and like
experience things for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be as negatively biased. Like I can see it for what it is at the time as well, which I like. So I'm excited for those sorts of films.
Yeah.
I want to get Last Starfighter 4K.
Yeah. A lot of people are talking about Raised by Wolves. I've seen a few episodes of Raised by Wolves, but I need to go back and watch that too.
Is that a sci-fi?
That looks really promising. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
It's called Raised. Oh wow, the hell's this? This looks weird.
Yeah.
Okay, that's stylistic. Jeez. Yeah. Wow. Okay. It gives me kind of Dune vibes, but not. That's weird. That's an original thing that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So does anybody have any suggestions for other films we should talk about?
Or TV.
Chat.
Yes.
Yeah. 43 likes. We have 54 people watching. Hit that like button. Let's get up to 50.
Ooh, I got a poll idea.
Ooh, a poll idea. Well, we'll vote on the poll in a minute when it comes up. But also don't forget to click that join button and see if you want to join the channel. We do love talking about this kind of stuff. And I love getting introduced to new stuff as well. If you guys have something that you'd like us to talk about or at least put on the list so we can kind of learn about it, that'd be awesome too. But like I said, super chat, and we will read them and talk about them on air here.
Read out the poll, Stuart.
If you had to say one, which is more iconic to you, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, or Tron?
I want to put a fourth in there because Tron's pretty iconic for sci-fi classics.
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who as well. I mean, more episodes than most shows of all time, and it had, like a 27-year uninterrupted run. I mean, you can't beat its legacy for sci-fi.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so it definitely deserves to be up there. And it's not even just UK. I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon. So, well, I don't know if you noticed, but in our show notes, the big notes, the big pictures, I actively made a distinction between the classic Who and the modern Who because they are so different that they are two different shows in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, same with you have both the classic and the new Lost in Space
and Battlestar.
Lost in Space, the classic would not be anywhere near any of my goddamn lists. I'll kick it. But the new one would be definitely in the ranking in the top 10 because that's how you redo something and do it like amazingly well.
Mm-hmm. We said so many times at the time, like Star Trek Discovery was coming out. And Lost in Space was coming out. The quality difference was astounding.
Yeah.
It was, it's being made at the same time with different writers, but like Lost in Space is like hitting 9s in most episodes. A lot of episodes. Like Sword 9, 8.5, 9, 8.5, 7, 8, 9. Discovery is like 6, 5, 3, 8, 6, 2, 1, 8, 14. What?
Have you watched any Resident Alien with Alan Tudyk?
I haven't, but it's been on my list.
Oh, I've seen the odd episode here and there, and I need to find out where I can watch it because it's fantastically well done.
I love Alan. I'd love to meet him.
He's so great in that role. Oh my god.
What's it? Because how sci-fi is it then, from what you've seen? Or is it just alien in the modern world? That's the thing.
It's sci-fi. He crashes and he needs to get home.
But does he do sci-fi things, or is it more just?
Oh yes, he does.
I'm so glad he got on the show. He should never be unemployed, that man.
Yeah. Julio Wolfus, 2 pounds. Thundercats only Chitara and Kat were female. Yes, until what's her name came along. Puma? No, not Puma. Forget her name. She was one of the ones that came about season 2 or 3. Yes, but yeah, not many females. So, Preston M, $20.
Ooh.
Just got here. Anyone mentioned Blade Runner or Highlander? Ooh, Highlander.
No one each. Is that sci-fi though? Given it's more just ancient powers.
About immortals, I would consider it sci-fi. Yes.
Even though it's
just ignore Highlander 2, which takes them to a different planet and they're aliens because that's just stupid.
Oh, but well, that makes it sci-fi.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Well,
if anything, you ignore that one and just keep the mysticism. Yeah, I'd consider Highlander under the umbrella of sci-fi, absolutely.
Although Sebastian is asking for clarification, is definition of iconic in relation to having the characteristics of an icon, or widely recognised as well established? Yes, well established. Is it to you? I mean, it's all sort of, what does your gut say in that? Because Star Wars is a thing that grabbed people from day one. Star Trek sort of got in people's hearts and souls sort of constantly over the course of 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, most people don't have the, I sat and watched TOS and felt the Earth shatter, but you hear that story about people who saw the Star Destroyer, and it's like, that is how things should look from now on. We didn't have that, but we had a other evolution.
And SephHO001, yes, I know, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, like Samuel. So, Matt Boardman, $10.
Ah, thank you.
When working on Top Gun Maverick, Joe Kosinski showed us some concept art for Tron 3.
Oh
So
no.
sad that project didn't happen because the concept art was really cool.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah, I hate hearing about things that were like almost produced. Like I've watched a few YouTube videos on movies that were almost made, or ideas
Yeah.
even for Star Trek that didn't happen.
Mm.
And it's like that's such a shame. Like it would have been amazing. So yeah, and seeing the artwork, like there was going to be another Alien movie before it got changed to whatever, before Alien 3, and there's a whole video on YouTube about that, and it's just like it was just some amazing ideas. It included Hicks. You know, Hicks didn't die, and Newt was
As
still
he
there.
shouldn't have.
Exactly.
I don't know why I
Exactly.
thought erasing that second film was a good plan. It seemed daft to me.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of like a Ryan Johnson type.
Oh,
idea.
it was, yeah. But the thing is, I will say, the director's cut of Alien 3 is fantastic. The standard version is crap. The director's is fantastic. But when you add 55 minutes or so to your movie, you know the studio interfered. It's like It's literally a third act because it makes every other plot make more sense. It is thoroughly enjoyable, and I watched the third one by itself, and then it's a whole different experience. It's really, really good. It's like it knows what it wants to be fully in that version.
Yeah.
And it feels thought out. And also the sets feel better because they built things. They put money into things which were cut out of the main film. But you see them for a few seconds or one scene, like, well, why did you waste money on this? And then the full one's like, well, because there's an entire sequence where things happen. Yeah. It's like, I like every Alien movie, like the full version for different reasons.
Same here.
I wish 3 had to start, obviously. I think who wouldn't wish for the, or even if they wow, what a sidestep, but they should have just had a Newt like age up, like they were lost in cryo for 10 years. Sigourney didn't age, Newt aged, so she's now like a fighting teenager, and that gives you another story. And then, but that said, I mean, how do you do another Alien film? You just do Alien 1 again, but with a radically different tone, style, story, character growth. You can't just have them fight again because we just defeated the Queen. So Anyway.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the number 3 director's cut?
I haven't seen the director's cut now.
I didn't think you had, otherwise you'd have backed me up on that because it's much, much better.
No, I haven't seen it yet. So we need a new Short Circuit. Yes, Short Circuit was great. That's also a fine line between. I don't even know what you'd call it. It has to fall under the sci-fi umbrella just because of Johnny Five being alive. But it's basically just a military robot that just gains sentience. So it's almost like a military type action movie almost. Sure. That's a weird one. That's a weird one, but it would fall under that umbrella, unfortunately. Like we said, the sci-fi umbrella is pretty big. So some are on the outside, getting a little wet from the rain because the umbrella is not quite covering them, but they still like count as sci-fi.
Yeah, and some have their own umbrella. It's like, how are you still sci-fi all over there, motherfucker? Yeah, we are.
It's one element. It's all it takes.
Yeah. Like Quantum Leap, honestly, that's like such a, we did it anyway, motherfucker.
Yeah, we got this sci-fi show, but we're gonna do all this. It's like the sci-fi is the premise that props it up.
But every week we have our little coloured box. That makes us sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I'm doing lots.
Ziggy.
Yes.
Ziggy works. Gotta hit Ziggy.
And lots of hologram effects. This is Jericho. Alien 3 is very slow. Yes, but it's on purpose. It works very well.
Short Circuit was an anti-war movie. Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, Matt. Watch the director's cut. It is very good in comparison. I say that with a caveat. But it saves
Julio Wolfus puts in £2. Love that they used G1, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee. Hell yeah! Seeing all the G1 molds on Cybertron was fantastic. It was the best part of the movie for me. All the Cybertron scenes. But then at the end, yes, having the Optimus. And then we're going to do a different, because the next one's called Rise of the Beasts, which includes the Maximals and stuff. But they were going to go a different way and have like an Optimus Prime G1 centric story instead. That's why they ended the movie the way they did. But he's still going to be in the new movie, from what I understand. But it's yeah.
And Dan makes an interesting side point. American Dad.
Ooh, yeah. Actually, it would fall under that because of Roger.
And they do plenty of sci-fi things throughout the course of the show. So, but you would never think of it as sci-fi. But its most interesting character is an alien.
That's one of the outliers. It's one of the.
And they've also got Captain Picard doing stuff every other week, talking to women and chatting them up and stuff.
Yes. And he even says something about Star Trek in it. He's like, Star Trek? No. Back then I was going out and getting laid.
Oh yeah, the holodeck one. He says, it's not a holodeck, it's a hollow room. Stupid holodeck sounds like stadium. Like, that's a whole thing. That's fine.
Yeah. Ozzy Medeiros, though, $2. Doctor Who will walk 500 miles.
It will walk 2,000 years, as is the Doctor. God,
well,
I was...
When I just heard of Doctor Who there, I just immediately thought of Red Dwarf as well. Like, that should,
I mean, that
probably
be on my list.
Remade necessarily, but...
No, you can't remake it. I mean, the Americans tried and it was garbage, because they just didn't get it.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, that's what I mean. Don't do it,
So unless you make it entirely different, just like the two RoboCops, like it's the same thing that happens, but the entire movie is different, which makes it interesting because it's just a different movie. So if you had Red Dwarf, it'd have to be a man or probably a woman in the future stuck, and then everything else happens, but it'd have to be entirely different, and not called Red Dwarf. But then, so what's the point? Well, because it's a good idea in general. But yeah, just keep having to do Red Dwarfs until they look too old, which is not long away. So that's what I jump on. Oh, Doctor Who, yeah. I was going to say I wish I had a time machine, which I don't like him saying that for Doctor Who. But if I had known they were filming at a place actually in Camden Town, I would have totally travelled down there to London to possibly see David Tennant in costume as the Doctor. Because the difference between at a convention, a picture with them, which is 1 second, or in the street, but as the Doctor on location, that's like you're really seeing them. And lots of people did see him, and I know it was somewhat a close set, but they still wasn't fully close. That would have been nice. Although he's not playing another version of the Doctor probably, but yeah definitely. I would have gone down to see that.
Bill Barkley says, wasn't Patrick Stewart in Life Force, sci-fi movie, or was that someone else? That was Patrick Stewart. That was his first on-screen kiss, and it was with a guy.
Wow.
Yeah, but Life Force is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, Terrence. It's all good. Time Cop. I have a soft spot for Time Cop, the movie.
I haven't seen Time Cop in a long time.
Yeah, me either, but I remember liking it when I watched it. I know it's dumb, but I liked it. And yes, Wobbly, Obi-Wan finale is out. Have you got to see the Obi-Wan finale episode yet?
Me?
Stuart, yes, you.
Yes.
Good. We'll talk about that next week.
Live first reaction to it tonight.
Oh my god! Excellent.
Yes, I got a busy night. I got this, then I got D&D, then I go straight into that, so it's fine. And I literally got home 20 minutes before this started, so I wouldn't have had time to do a top 10 list, so it worked out kind of fine. So this has been a fun discussion.
Yeah, we have some good topics there. We do.
Coolio Wolfus, £2. RoboCop reboot. The original outfit had a cameo. Yes, that's another thing. When you do something like that, include the original. Like Battlestar Galactica, the new BSG did a fine job of all of that.
In the museum.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just that it's there is fantastic. And I really enjoyed the new RoboCop movie. I don't quite understand all the hate for it. I thought it was an actual good movie to me, anyway. So,
yeah, the difference being because I think people compare it to the Total Recall remake, which was not a good film.
No.
And you lump it in the same of that genre, but I think RoboCop, in a similar vein, is a better film. It's actually a real film.
Yeah.
And it tackles entirely different themes, and we watched the first one for my birthday, so I now know them both in context. And Samuel L. Jackson's fantastic, the CG's great, the lethality of the suit's great, the Gary Oldman, I'd probably say it's like a 7.8. Like, I wouldn't quite call it getting to the 8s and 9s, but it's nothing lower than a 7 for me. Damn Soul, better than Damn Soul, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was a good
Better
movie.
than any of the RoboCop sequels.
And that, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, no, I like RoboCop 2.
I don't mind RoboCop 2, I just can't stand the kid. I just want to slap him in the head.
I don't even remember the kid.
And the bad guy at the end, that bad robot, was just kind of stupid.
Oh, I like Bad Robot.
But Coolio Wolfus, £2.
Thank
and the original Marvin in
you.
HHG TTG reboots spaceport.
Yep.
I don't know what HHG TTG.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
Which I thank you for. That's great to remind. I'm going to put these on the list of pictures because just a useful reference. Someone's mentioned Space Above and Beyond, which I keep meaning to see. God, it's got one song that they play 5,000 times, what I can guess. I listen to the soundtrack. It's a great song, though.
I'm glad you have Terra Nova on here, too. Like,
yeah.
That was a great show. I wish it would have continued. I was so disappointed when it didn't.
Yeah.
Because it was just really getting really good at the end of the season.
It's called Setup Audience. Give it 2 years, so it at least can pay off some of the setup.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yep.
Frustrating. And then what's the one I just said? Oh yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The problem with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV show, which is what we're referring to, is that the audio was so perfect, the show wasn't as good. Even though it was the same people, but it wasn't as good. So it's hard to kind of compare when it's just a less good version because they didn't have the budget to realise it. Whereas, obviously, in your own mind, you're really picturing it and really giving it all the oomph it needs. That said, I mean, Marvin's still great in it.
Mm-hmm. Coolio Wolfus, another £2. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Americans' reboot of Brit shows usually suck. Usually. But I mean, they redid The Office, and I think The Office is probably better. If not just as good as. I haven't watched any of the original Office, but
yeah, I intend to watch the original Office first. I haven't seen it yet, and then just get the context, and then move on to the other one because I know it's one of the best of its kind out there.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch that. I'm going to try and either Marie won't want to watch it, or I'll just say one that I can watch by myself. Because very few shows are your own show, but when you have a partner, you have to kind of like carve out which are the shared shows, which are the solo shows.
Yeah, like I prefer watching things with Sylvia, so it's kind of a shared experience. But a lot of things she's just not interested in, so I'm like, okay, cool, I'll watch that when I'm, she goes to bed at like 9 or 10, and then I stay up till 3 or 4, so I'll watch it then. It's fine.
Stuart,
but then I don't have anybody.
I know how you feel.
I don't have anybody to talk to about it really, except for you guys. And a lot of times when an actor shows up in it, I'm like, oh, what's that guy from? Oh, what's he from? And usually for what's the show we're watching together, she's like, it's from this. Or it's fun to have that back and forth of figuring out who people are before we IMDb it.
And the sad thing is that I'm also awake till 3, 4, or 5, but in the wrong time zone. So if I was awake, you'd totally text me, I'd totally respond. Like, we know we do that, but don't line up there.
Furious Fawns, $5. Highlander is not sci-fi except for Highlander 2. Outlander is the other. On the other hand, it's clearly sci-fi. Time Cop also gets a series. Highlander is sci-fi, though. Immortals... there's no real explanation as to their origin before.
Well, just gods, aren't they?
Not gods. They're just people that have a genetics that makes them live forever. But they also have the sci-fi element of when they get decapitated, there's lightning and you get infused with their power, and the goal is to be the last one to have the prize, as they call it. So it is sci-fi in that regard. It's an unexplained thing. So
I just associate it being like Thor, like they're god creatures in their own right. Yeah, I didn't know there's a Time Cop series. That's cool. I'm gonna add the Blu-ray to my list because I haven't had it.
Yeah. A lot of these movies got like series that are either like one season or like a cartoon adaptation or something.
Yeah.
Even Blue Thunder had one series of television after the show, which obviously only lasted one season, so it kind of tells you all you need to know. But from what I've seen of it, it wasn't that bad. So I don't know. Is Fantasy Island? Here's the question: is Fantasy Island sci-fi? Because there's like magical elements in that, and Mr. Rourke, you never get Is he the devil? You don't even know. Like, he's got these powers. So I'm asking the audience: is Fantasy Island sci-fi? I want to know. It's hard to lump some of these things. Like I say, there's definitely sci-fi umbrella, and then there's the subcategories. So
yeah, it's like technically, if it's sci-fi fiction, then it's fiction is close to fantasy. Fantasy is Lord of the Rings. So, Fifth Element is just like Lord of the Rings. Like, no, it's not. But it is. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Flint? Ooh, that's a good one. Gorgonzola 86. Is Flint from TOS's Requiem for Methuselah? Yes, he's an immortal. He's an immortal. He's definitely. I like it. He left the planet so he wouldn't have to deal with it. Sean T, $2. Continuum. Never seen Continuum.
Man, you just got me so sad by saying that. I did forget that on my list. I really like Continuum. I watched it when it came out. I was like, oh, this is so good. And then it got cancelled. And then I didn't watch the last season because I was sad. And then I finally rewatched it like 8 years later as a binge. I'm like, oh no, that's what happened. I thought it was cancelled at the end of season 3. I didn't know season 4 existed, so I thought that was the end. Turns out I missed like 6 of the last half of the season and then a full season. So when I rewatched it, I'm like, there's more? And so I'm like, this is where the story ended, though.
That was great to find that out, though.
Because it had an ending at the point I watched for whatever reason. And then it kept going. Another season, I was like, oh my god, the story has an ending! Holy... And it wasn't a very good last season. Because they barely got it. I mean, they fought so hard. But, so many good ideas.
Curious Fawns, $5. By that explanation, Captain Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones are sci-fi.
Yes.
Too. Oh, yeah, they include dragons and stuff. So sci-fi... The umbrella says sci-fi fantasy. I don't know if you knew that. But that's where immediately the first branch off is science fiction and fantasy. And then they kind of fall under those with different subcategories. But sci-fi fantasy, it's always together. So, yes.
Yes. Dear me. But yeah, Continuum. That's a Canadian show, so you might recognise some locations if you've seen Canadian media. Because are there many Canadian only shows that don't reach international that you make that you then know landmarks in Canada that only you would recognise, or is that not really a thing in Canada?
I mean,
Canada's pretty broad, obviously, but
most of the shows are either filmed in Toronto or Vancouver. First of all, those are the two main big places, but most of them do go international. So I mean, back in the '80s, there were shows like The Littlest Hobo, which probably not a lot of people know about. Very Ontario-based show, but that was back then. So there's probably a few here and there, but yeah.
I don't know if there's a show where you're like, oh wow, I know all about Vancouver, all the dingy bits of it because of this show that we wouldn't have heard of. Yeah.
It does seem like Toronto being made up to pretend it's New York. No, I recognize that street. But Sam the Record Man, what the hell? Why is that there? That's definitely... Even the last Incredible Hulk movie, The Final Battle, between the bad guy and the good guy, the Hulk, is on Yonge Street in Toronto. And there's a big Sam the Record Man, which is like an iconic store. It was. I don't think it's there anymore. It's like, no, this is not... Why are you fighting in Toronto? And it's not Toronto.
No, they just built one of those in New York, don't you know? Dan asks, is Lost a sci-fi?
It's on the list, and I would consider it a sci-fi, yes. Unexplained happenings, but then again, that could be paranormal as well, which is kind of linked with horror. So horror and supernatural is kind of another umbrella. Be attached to the sci-fi. See, now we're just, I don't know. It's difficult to categorize.
Because like Ghostbusters, it's a comedy, fantasy horror.
Yeah.
But they happened. Yeah. If they didn't have their shiny orange lights, there's no science fiction elements to it at all. Supernatural is not science fiction. It's not science, first of all, and it's not even fiction if you want to talk about it being real life. It's just, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't even fit in. Just because they have an advanced science of the tech, it kind of equates. You wouldn't call a normal ghost finding show a science fiction. I mean, you call it a fiction, but you wouldn't call it you call it trash. See, that was my payoff there. But no, Lost. I never got into Lost because Lost did happen when I was around, but we didn't watch the first bit, so we just never there wasn't DVR, and we weren't going to buy the DVDs in case we didn't like it. No one wanted the money for that. So once you missed the hype train of Lost, we didn't get onto it. I know the ending is even worse than These Are the Voyages of Enterprise or Game of Thrones. So it's like it's sad to nowadays. If you watch Game of Thrones, the ending is so trash it ruins the entire show. But the show's good up until the last season, so it's a hard thing to when do you ever want to start if it ends with trash, because the journey's good. It's tricky.
Yeah.
Knowing Lost is meaningless is great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know that of it.
Doesn't mean there's good storytelling and good
exactly.
acting in it.
But it has a big shadow over it,
Yeah. Gorgonzola 86 is Eureka on your list.
Yes. I mean that is, I would call that lots of sci-fi. The whole premise of the show is science and fun and fiction. Yes, I'd call it one of the more clear examples of modern day sci-fi done right. And I'm sad they didn't get more of a lifespan. And the Blu-rays are insanely hard to find. They made only a few, and you can buy German Blu-rays, but you can't just get Eureka Blu-rays.
I found, I didn't find, but I finally watched a movie that I should have watched forever ago. I watched it literally a week after Wonderfest. It was Buckaroo Banzai, Adventures in the Eighth Dimension. I'm surprised I haven't seen it before. It's got a stellar cast. Peter Weller, Jeff Goldblum, so many good cast, and it's very. I just couldn't believe I hadn't seen it before, and I kind of got roasted a little bit at Wonderfest because one guy was talking about his favorite movie, Buckaroo Banzai. I haven't seen it yet, and they're like, "What? Oh my God, you can't talk to us anymore. You're turning your nerd card." So finally decided to watch it, and I can't believe I've missed out on it this long because it's really freaking great. So I don't know if you've seen it, but I would suggest checking it out if you haven't.
See,
we refer to it in Ready Player One as well. So
you say that, and in my brain, it's an animated kids show from the 80s that was Sunday morning cartoon.
I thought it was about a rabbit, but no, it's not. It's a fantastic.
The hell is this? That is not
Coolio,
wow, it's not what I thought it was going to be.
No, cool. The cast is great. The story's fun. It is a good movie. Coolio Wolfus, 2 pounds. Did you catch my Galactica 80s trivia in chat?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Go back and find this, Chip.
No. Jesus Christ.
I refuse. I refuse.
Trivia in Galactic 80 two-parter. The night the Cylons landed, you actually have a guy in a clown costume and a Cylon with a Larson scanner in the car. That's the trivia. Okay, that's cool.
Fun. Yeah, I think it'd be fun for us also to go back and do a Battlestar Galactica old show review watch. I thought that would be good, bad. I could see it being pretty fun. So I can't imagine it holds up at all. So that I think it'd be fun in that reason.
Well, are you talking about all of Battlestar Galactica or just Battlestar Galactica 1980?
Well, no, the first. Well, it's confusing, isn't it? There was a pilot, but it was a movie. But the movie was the first 2 episodes. But the first 2 episodes was then a series. The series was then 1 series, 2 series. But there was also another spin-off. There's a crossover movie that whole thing, the old ones.
Yeah.
Just that umbrella of those episodes.
Most of it's good. There's some really shit episodes in that series, for sure. It's definitely a sign of the times it was made in. But yeah,
I think that'd just be a really interesting.
Still holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be bad. I don't think it'd be bad. I think it just won't have aged well, and those are different.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I think once it's like Battlestar Babylon 5. Like visual effect wise, they are so basic. They're very impressive still. That's the weird distinction, because they're super well framed and choreographed, but they're obviously based on low-end computer graphics that were high-end at the time. But those are only aging poorly. But the camera work is phenomenal, so that's what you should take away from it.
Yeah.
That's all they kind of. That's all that can still remain, you know. Yeah.
And I love the characters, Paul and Starbuck in the original.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was characters. They were lucky. Like, that's what they really brought forward.
Remember me with the whole not my Starbuck.
I do.
I absolutely love Katie Sackhoff now, and I love her Starbuck, but still not my Starbuck. I still would love Dirk Benedict's Starbuck.
Well, because
I still do love Dirk Benedict.
It's because it's not the same character. Like, functionally, it's a different character doing a different thing, just called Starbuck. You know?
That smokes cigars. That's the only similarity.
Well, yeah, which is why it works, because it's not a female Starbuck, it's just a female called Starbuck, but her name's Cara Thrace. I mean, what was the original guy's name? It wasn't Starbuck.
I don't know if they ever said it, to be honest.
And that shows you how...
Did, and I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Coolio Wolfus, £5.
Thank you.
Basically, Knight Rider's Kit. The clown was Kit's voice. Cylon Larson Scanner was Kit's too. Yes.
That's good. Oh, his name was Lieutenant Starbuck. Okay.
See what I mean?
What was his name? Didn't have a call.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. But that'd be a fun... I mean, you know, obviously, if there's ever a slight lull in shows, this would be great to do. This would be great to do some things on.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. If, like, while we're doing TNG or DS9 or whatever, do one at the beginning of the week that's Star Trek, and do one at the end of the week that's something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe do that might work, but we need no new Trek or anything on at the time. So we'll see how it goes.
And guys, we are only $50 away from our minimum, which is fantastic. We're slow and steadying, and that's great. We really appreciate it. Keep them coming. And the poll, only 60 votes, but we've got a lovely 60 people who are here. I'm kind of shocked. I probably should have taken it out of the running. So, what is most iconic to you on a dedicated Trek channel? 67% Star Trek, 22% Star Wars, 10% Doctor Who, and 2% Tron. All right.
Yeah, not surprised when I saw the list and Star Trek's going to win.
I thought Star Trek would be a little bit higher, but if you have to only pick one, so. Right, I'm going to do another poll then.
Yes, Bill, I know that Car was voiced by Optimus Prime. Who knows what CAR stands for? Night Automated Roving Robot, just for the record. Yeah, this has been a really fun discussion, actually. Kind of what I was hoping for, and you guys have really helped out. So please, another $50 at least, if possible. So super chat away. Hit that like button if you haven't, and consider joining the channel as well. Hit the join button. But we want to hear from you. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. So super chat and let us know. Ozzy, $2. Starbuck joins the A-Team. Yes. Loving the A-Team opening. You see Face standing there, and a Cylon walks by. And it's like, every opening that's in there.
Oh, right. Didn't even... Yeah. Sweet. That's called We Love Our Fans.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Nice. Read the new poll, Stuart. It may be controversial. Dum dum dum.
Let's see. Which series do you enjoy more if you had to pick? Stargate SG-1 or Battlestar Galactica New? They're different animals, though.
Yep. They're not remotely the same.
But they're both fantastically stellar.
Yep.
Yep.
I will say, though, that SG-1 hasn't got a weak season like Season 4 of BSG, which is discernibly weaker. So the trajectories are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more good episodes of Stargate because there's more episodes than there are of BSG. Because
I also feel that Stargate is more of an episodic format as opposed to BSG.
Yeah. Yeah, BSG is not episodic. It is. Like, it's super serialized, but maintains a full, like, it's kind of how Strange Worlds does it, but better obviously, because it is genuinely like there's so much evolution, but also it doesn't feel like DS9 where some characters just sort of being. What did you do this week? Well, I talked to Quark for 2 minutes. About what? Just stuff. It's like, cool. There's good stuff, but it's just stuff. I think BSG, they have a much better... Each character has a journey, has an arc. Even if it shifts as they go, because they change their minds slightly on different things. Whereas a better, distinct vibe as they go.
And yes, Bill, we know there's a new BSG series happening, which is interesting. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, it is a They say the same universe, why not to be a continuation? But since the universe is also our universe, is also the old universe. It's very... it could be anything.
Gorgon's Ola 86. Should Lieutenant Barclay have a miniature of the A-Team van in his quarters? Yes. That'd be great. Just a little Hot Wheels A-Team van on a shelf. That'd be great.
That'd be great. Nice.
Supernatural is for...
yeah?
Yes.
First couple of seasons
for
are.
paranormal. Yeah.
Certainly are. Yeah, we got through 6 seasons of that.
It was only supposed to be like five.
Yep. Oh yeah.
5 seasons.
It ends.
This is so popular.
We're
going to keep it going. The story kind of goes. My son watched the entire thing. He's a huge Supernatural fan.
And Cassie too.
Yes, and Cassie as well.
Because that's how I watched the first episode, was with her on the sofa with you. You were like, I think Then they went to the kitchen and did something, and then I was asking Cassie questions. That was fun. I think that was the day she was really hungover, so she was like on the couch and didn't. Do you remember now?
I remember that incident, but I don't remember Supernatural at all.
Because it wasn't that many days I was there. There's obviously only so many things that happened, but yeah, she was very hungover one day. It was hilarious. People mentioning X-Files. Your thoughts on X-Files? Because I have no history with X-Files except one. It's very specific. What are your...
Oh, I watched it when it was new. I caught almost all of it.
Okay.
I would definitely consider it sci-fi, for sure.
The sci is out there.
Exactly. I need to go back and rewatch it, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd love to see how it ages.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Mulder and Scully were great characters. It's a shame that the actors didn't really like each other that much, apparently. I hate when you hear that. We're currently watching Castle with Nathan Fillion and Stana Katic. They absolutely hated each other from season 1 on, but they're such good actors, you can't tell. It's really weird. But yeah, X-Files is fun. It definitely falls under the sci-fi umbrella for me. Yes.
Yeah, my only specific that was one we did have on VHS, and so a few made it on the television, but it's super. Even from childhood memories, if you didn't know who the people were, you didn't care, because they were the big draw, and to me just having seen a little bit of it, so I didn't have any particular interest in it because I didn't know who the characters were. I watched one episode for my university degree, and it was when they go to a cabin and. There is actually aliens. That's kind of the point of it, and it's a case study. We 4 TV shows, 4 episodes. All I remember thinking was, why was this famous? Because the lady is she has said 12 words the entire episode, and the man is were they a team? It's super derogatory to women. I mean, she's not doing anything. She's not even saying anything, and she's no. It felt. I mean, that was probably the one episode, but I was like, this is a really. Heavily sexist series, it felt like, from the one episode. And then you compare to Stargate coming out, and it's like, wow, everyone's great. Doesn't matter what gender. Does she normally not say much? Is that normally her character?
No, she's just a big part of it.
Okay, great. Because I was like, this is not a...
It's just that one episode, apparently, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah. I was really weird. It was really... To not encourage you to watch other episodes.
Furious Fawns throws in $50. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Boom.
I'm just saying, any property that does not at least include one of the following sci-fi plot elements is not sci-fi.
Ooh.
Depiction of the future, time travel, science beyond the level of the time of the production includes robots and tech, and aliens.
Aliens does help. And time travel is also by definition the more advanced tech idea. But then how much more advanced? Like, if there's a drug that can cure illness, is that now a sci-fi for one thing? If it's a police procedural where the people can live 10 years longer because of a drug, maybe? I don't know. Although, speaking of, there was that show that didn't go anywhere with Carl Urban.
Oh, Almost Human.
Yeah, I'll add that to this.
Yes. That was sci-fi for sure, and that was a great show. We watched all of that.
I know he loved doing it.
It was a shame that ended.
He was super upset it finished.
Yeah, it was a fucking great show. But definitely sci-fi for sure.
But yeah, $50, that gets over the minimum. Thank you so much. As you guys know, yeah, it adds a spring to our step, guys.
Ooh.
It's not unsubtle.
Cosmo, the cartoon Marshall Brave Star should get a movie. Yes! Brave Star as a live-action movie would be fantastic. Brave Star, Brave Star. Anyway, saying the cartoon openings from the 80s had the best intros. Hands down. Anyone like Planet of the Apes, says Chuck Jones. I do. I used to have all the original Planet of the Apes movies in a DVD box set before my divorce. I never got it back. But yeah, there's a lot of those shows like Almost Human that we normally wouldn't even think about because we forgot about them, you know? But then you say it and it's like, oh, that was great. So yeah, that's why we like you guys helping us out with these, because you come up with the ones that we might forget.
Because we want to make a very, very broad, full list, and it's definitely been... I mean, I will say I had 73, so I really did my due diligence, but there's already been plenty here that you've said that I just didn't catch, so that's fantastic. I mean, should we do a quick little quick fire? Do you guys throw out sci-fi TV shows that might be more obscure? That's my tease.
Well, I made a list beforehand, which I think you have most of them on here. There's a few you don't, but cool. For All Mankind, Lost in Space, Avenue 5. You don't have Avenue 5.
Never saw it. I was tempted to, but yeah.
Terra Nova, Quantum Leap, Resident Alien, Love, Death, and Robots, which is hard to put in there. It's definitely sci-fi, but it's also an anthology series, so it's not really... But Love, Death, and Robots should be on the list. Futurama, Buck Rogers, Stranger Things, ESG. That's the small list I came up with real quick before I had to leave.
Yeah, did Avenue 5 get more than one season? Because I know it had really divisive reviews, and it's got Hugh Laurie, which is a...
It's a great show.
Yeah, I it seemed like a stupid fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
No one remembers Alien Nation. Cosmo, yes, we remember.
Oh,
Alien
yeah, Nation. See, that's great. Keep throwing them out, guys. With Gary from Enterprise. Avenue 5. So it's got a second season. That's most likely going to end in the second season because it's delayed pandemic-y.
Yeah.
Well, only 9 episodes in season 1's a bit sad. It's not really much for a season, is it? But that's shows now, isn't it? So.
Yep. Sean O'Sullivan, €2. Did anyone mention Humans or Survivors?
No.
Is that the name of it? Humans or Survivors?
Oh, my dad's watched Humans. It's an English replicant AI show with a famous Asian actress who's very good in the lead. What's the other one called?
Survivors. What's the one with... Guys, I need you.
Yeah, these are both UK
the
shows.
Voyagers. The Voyagers should be on there. With a guy named Phineas Fogg, who was a time traveler.
Oh my god!
Plus, there's that one. There's that one.
Is this Canadian? Because that's great.
It is. It's a great show.
That's fantastic.
There's one you mentioned called... I can't remember what it was called, but you watched it when you were a kid. We did a video on the ship. It's a time travel ship.
Aquila.
No. That's it. It's not on this list either.
Did you watch it?
No, I have not.
I keep
Aquila. I think Aquila and Voyagers are pretty much similar in our mind. Voyagers was great.
Oh my god, fingers in the carpet. Ah. God, when you go down our list.
V is on our list, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah. I keep wanting to put Aquila in a film, but I forget. I keep finding the model and forget. I've almost converted it 3 times. Because no one's going to get it, but it's such a distinct design that it would work. God.
Altered Carbon, we have Blake 7, we have Defiance, we have
Yep.
Logan's Run. It's not on the list.
Nope, Logan's Run, that's good. I mean, I'm not going to vote
Tech
for it.
War.
Oh.
No, I know, me either.
But it's a really good
Tech
reference.
War. Yeah.
Because just for us in the future, having like a big... Because I mean, I did a good job finding like good posters as well. Like, that have all the names. Good, just like a reference. So don't delete it, Stuart. I know you tend to delete stuff.
I won't delete this. It's in a separate folder because I know we're going to use it later. But you got to send me more stuff now. So.
Yeah.
Is Day of the Trifids sci-fi? I would say yes, then.
Day of the Trifid? What the hell's that? That's a cool name. What's a novel?
Yeah, I don't know if it was ever made into a show.
Yeah, there's a. It looks like an English film straight to DVD.
What about War of the Worlds? All the different variations of that.
Have you seen any of the TV versions? I have not.
Of War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
No, there's 2 that I need to check out. I've seen all the movies, obviously, and I've got a book, which is a modern-day version of War of the Worlds, which is kind of great.
Soylent Green. Oh, that's a show as well. That was a movie.
Soylent Green is people.
That was a movie. Not a show.
Earth 2.
Yeah, Earthfall Conflict. Yeah. Yeah, Alan Parr. High five. It's a good show. It's a good show. Actually, met the professor at a play, and he was like, "Aquila? You remember Aquila? I love that show." I'm like, "Yes, we loved it too," but no one talked about it because it was a kids' show. But it wasn't. But it was. Yes.
It's funny how certain shows just ring with you depending on when you watch them. Like I said, I watched Voyagers with my brother Steve, and such a cool little time travel device he had, and he had a kid tagging along with him. It was a good show.
Yeah, Aquila's interesting because it has that fun sci-fi ship, which obviously we like. The tech that's so far advanced but still understandable, which helps.
Yeah.
It has the kid element, but that obviously I happen to be a kid. I wasn't thinking because they're like me. That wasn't, but it was obviously the case. They had the Great Evolution. It was a serialized, but also episodic, so that helped. It had a great cast. It did good acting. It had a little bits of CG that were quite good.
See you later, Coolio Wolfus.
Hey.
Sorry, he said he's subbed, but he's out for now. So see you later. Thank you for the super chats and stuff, and for the
Thanks,
sub.
and yes, and also it promised more. Like it was a great. Let's throw sci-fi into an everyday thing. You know, but I always like the idea of flying. So having a ship that can cloak and fly is like it opens up the world as they they go to the moon and they eat lunch on the moon because they can.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't you eat lunch on the moon if you could? It's great.
Gorgonzola, yes, we have The Expanse on the list. Foundation's not on the list.
I just put
though.
on.
I've started watching that.
I hear good things about that. Yep, I really want to rewatch Sliders. I want to know if Sliders is actually good or not. Because I have good memories of Sliders, but I never watched the whole thing. I know I didn't, but I have good memories of it. Was Sliders good, guys?
Squadricore says Rocky Horror Picture Show has aliens. Just saying, yeah, but Rocky Horror Picture Show should be on no list for any good thing ever. Fucking hate that movie.
Wait, is the Sliders movie?
No, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, no, but I'm Amazoning, and there's a Sliders movie, apparently.
Oh.
Being on Blu-ray. Interesting. And a TV show, but is that the same thing? That's confusing.
Cowboy Bebop, the animated series. Oh, that's anime.
Oh. What?
The Black Hole. Yeah, the Black Holes should be on the list.
Okay, so you can get in HD. Interesting. Yeah, for some reason you can only get Sliders and Eureka in German Blu-ray. But you can obviously subtitle in English because it was made by an English team that just happened to only be released in Germany. Okay. I mean, no offense to Germans, obviously, just it's very random. So you got to pay the import duty version of it, which is way too expensive. But it's like, yes, but I want it on Blu-ray because I mean, this watching standard definition stuff on a big TV looks even worse than it ever did. Yeah.
I just sit back further on the couch and I just take my glasses off, and it looks fucking great.
The natural blur.
Everything looks great when I have my glasses off.
That's good. So if you ever play a PS2 game, come off. Oh yeah. Oh, the blurry text, perfectly crisp. I like that.
But when you go on like at Christmas time, if you do the drives around the neighborhoods with all the lights, if you take your glasses off, everything's like glows so much better. Just saying.
I like that. That's good. But guys, let's do a few more votes in the poll. Let's get at least 60 and $21 more. Let's do a call of fives. Throw in. Let's do a quick fire then.
$30. We need $30.
We do. Okay. $5. Snipe in your favorite non-Trek TV show that's sci-fi. Like, start throwing them in. Let's see if there's a consensus. So right now in the chat, super chat or not super chat, if you had to pick one, your favorite sci-fi non-Trek show, please put them in. I'd love to know.
Yeah, I think Sequest is on our list. Yep. So,
as is Fringe, which I've only seen the first season of. So I got not bored, but I just didn't watch more. But I liked it. But I heard that JJ, as all of his shows, makes the first season good. Then when he leaves, it goes to trash because he has no plan, so it doesn't go anywhere. Like Alias, I really liked Alias season 1, and the first episode directed by James Cameron. Holy hell, like that was a good episode, and then it kind of like goes down in the ranks.
Sean T throws in $2 and says Ascension.
Oh, I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it. That's your favorite, is it? Jeez, cool.
VR Troopers, there's a good one.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen this Ascension. Is that the BSG lady? No, it isn't. Someone forehead. Maybe it is. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Yes, it is. Oh, cool.
Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. That's on the list.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's interesting. This looks kind of cool in its own way.
I should just read. I'll read our list that I have on my end. Just read it out if it makes spark something in somebody else. Do
you mean the pictures I sent, or just your own personal list?
Yes. No, the pictures you sent.
Okay.
So 12 Monkeys, Alias, Altered Carbon, Andromeda, Another Life, Batman Beyond, the original BSG, the new BSG, Babylon 5, Bionic Woman, Blake 7, Buck Rogers, Caprica, Captain Scarlet, Dark Matter, Defiance, Doctor Who, Dollhouse, which I've never heard of, Earth, Final Conflict, Eureka, Farscape, Firefly, For All Mankind, Fringe, Futurama. Oh, you had it on the list. Cool. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Heroes, Killjoys.
Did not mention Heroes. What the hell, guys?
Legends of Tomorrow, Lois and Clark, Loki, Lost in Space Original, Lost in Space New, Lost, Mutant X, The Orville, Primal, Quantum Leap.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Primeval, sorry. Quantum Leap, Red Dwarf, Rick and Morty, Roswell, Sanctuary, $6 Million Man, Sliders, Smallville, Space 1999, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Rebels, Clone Wars, Stargate Atlantis, Stargate SG-1, Stargate Universe, Stingray, Terminator, Terra Nova, The Expanse, The Flash, Sarah Jane Adventures. Never heard of that.
It's Doctor Who's companion.
Oh,
it was her second show because they kept trying to give her a show because she's great.
The Twilight Zone, X-Files, Thunderbirds are go. Well, not just Thunderbirds. Thundercats, Timeless, Torchwood, Transformers, V, WandaVision, and Warehouse 13. I know there's a lot missing off that list for sure.
But I had a lot.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. A lot of the ones that I had written down, I was like looking to see if you had any did. So.
And I tried to, I tried to do a lot of alternate searches to find stuff. Obviously, I hadn't seen because the idea is it's meant to be a grand list. I've seen most of those, or at least know most of those. But obviously, as your ages change, etc.
Yeah. So, and like we said, we're going to do top 10 lists of our favorite sci-fi franchise shows and movies, and then probably do some subcategory ones as well, I think. So you guys are enjoying this discussion, you might want to tune in for those. Make sure you're subscribed and all that stuff. Click that notification bell icon. You know the routine. Rocket Robin Hood. No, go away. Aliens. I didn't hear that on the list. Alien? No, it's not on the list. It should be. Not a lot of movies on that list. Mostly TV shows. Yes, because movies are really easy to start firing off.
Well, and the idea was this was TV shows only.
Yes. We were originally just going to do TV shows. So.
Because also that would be an insane list to try and... how could you even?
It's like whenever anybody asks me my top favorite episodes, inevitably I'm going to forget one that should be on the list.
Yeah.
Unless I have the full list in front of me, and even then I got to kind of very measure and weigh what goes where. So
it would take hours and hours to work out the movies for this list. Especially go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, then the 2000s, how many sci-fi films? You had to go B-movie, did you go straight to DVD?
You almost have to do them by decades so you wouldn't miss anything.
Well, I would. I would do that, but I would still miss stuff because Google doesn't tell you everything. And that'd be how... I mean, this was bad enough. This took me too long. Yeah. But we can go find loads of new stuff as well.
Squadra Course throws in $1, looking for that last Super Chat slot again.
Yes.
But we still need at least... Oh, there comes another Super Chat. Stephen W. Fathry, Text Trek is here, $5.
Hey, good to see you.
Josh Whedon is a jerk.
Oh.
I love his show. Angel, Firefly. Also, the animated DC shows made by Bruce Timm. Those are all great. Yeah.
Yes, Matt Bullman, 7 days. That is a great call. I forgot about that one.
So we need another $20. $20 to hit a good.
Oh, that's so close
total for this. So one $20 super chat would be awesome, guys.
7 days. That's I should rewatch 7 days.
They should make a show called How I Met Your Leader, narrated by an alien. That'd be great. Firefly was not that great.
Yes, it was.
I recently just watched it.
It's great.
Wasn't as good as the hype had been. The last episode was fantastic, and Serenity was a good movie. But yeah, I kind of on that fence. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, but wasn't quite as good as it was built up in my mind.
It's like Top Gun. Everyone said it was the best movie ever. You watch it, it's okay. You can't go in with that level of hype. You know? If you went in with it thinking, this would be a good show, it's like, oh my god, it's a great show.
Iron Sky? Have you seen Iron Sky?
I have. I liked it. So, Donnie's saying Lois and Clark is in 4K on HBO Max? Really? The TV show in 4K? Really?
Matt Boardman, $20.
Oh.
Space Above and Beyond, one of my favorites. I gotta watch that. A lot of people have said that.
Yeah, that I don't even think it was on the I don't even think that was in the UK, let alone something I could have missed. And Stephen, yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm of the opinion that someone's personality should not define your love or hate for their art. Otherwise, by that metric, everyone should blacklist Michael Jackson's work in theory. And I'm sure Elvis did some really dodgy things. You know, you can't start taking icons as work for what they did. I absolutely love The Cosby Show. I grew up with The Cosby Show. Love the character of Dr. Huxtable. But yeah, that's a little bit tainted now. But I love The Cosby Show. It's still one of my favorites. Yeah, unless they're playing themselves, you know, I'm not gonna judge anything they do, their work. Sorry.
Oh, I'm the same way.
Oh, and Furious at 7 days as well. Sorry, I didn't see that. Yes.
Apparently, you can't like anything that Kevin Spacey's done because but he's done some fantastic work. So.
Well, and it's interesting because you had the whole, not Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. In theory, a few years ago, he was the abuser, so therefore you had to hate his work and blacklist him. But if she was the abuser, you now have to hate all of her work and love his work all of a sudden. But sure, there's obviously two sides because you can't have the. So just have it be separate. The work
is not a representation of the person.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I mean,
separate the artist.
Johnny Depp hasn't got a jar of dirt; he's got a jar of Coke. You know, it's not at all the same. I don't know if you watched that bit. Did you watch that?
No.
There's a moment when Amber's showing, her lawyers are showing a table in their home, and it's just a jar of cocaine. And it's like, what's that? Oh, it's a jar of cocaine. It's like, oh, right. because in those trials apparently you can't be done for drug offences. It's just part of the law system, so they can admit to just a big full jar of cocaine, and everyone's making memes about I got jar of cocaine, because it's just funny as a symbology thing. Yeah. Made me laugh. Black Lightning. Yeah, that's. I mean, yeah. I like Black Lightning quite a lot, but it's like it gets more. That I think would be on my list. 'Cause I didn't include Arrow because it's so not sci-fi, whereas Legends and Flash are. But Black Lightning, I would probably angle it more. Did you ever watch Black Lightning?
No.
That's good. I've only seen the first season just because other things came up, but I like the main guy a lot.
Astro Boy, yes, Astro Boy.
Oh yeah.
Astro Boy, is brave and gentle and wise. Soaring high in the sky, he may be small but only in size. Astro Boy. Sorry. I watched that shit when I was a kid. You can tell. It's etched into my brain.
It is. So Matt's asking the hard question: Airwolf, will you give it a science fiction stamp or not? Final decision, Stuart.
I say yes.
Okay. That's what I was asking.
That's a fine line one, though. That's really...
Jetsons. Yeah. Guys, we are at $5. Can we get... $5. And votes. We've got 61 votes. I'm thrilled to say that Stargate SG-1 beat out BSG. As a lover of both, for very different reasons, I'm still thrilled.
A lot of people were annoyed with the poll, like, undecided. Even Matt's like, that's not a fair poll. But it's a black and white poll. Like, you got to pick one.
Well, it's like, do you prefer chocolate or chocolate brownies?
They're both great.
It's like, yeah, but they're both delicious. But what do you feel that day?
Yeah. Eric Martin, $5. I love the V series. Hey, I love the V too.
Well, V-neck sweaters.
More V I can get, the better. And you know what I'm saying. So. Mantis. Monsters vs. Aliens. Squadra Corps sniping back in for that last super chat slot with $1, so thank you so much. Did a really good... This has been a really good discussion and a really good live. I've really enjoyed this one.
Good to know.
One more poll before we leave. Which do you prefer if you had to pick? Stargate SG-1, Battlestar Galactica, and then the poll closed. Or both.
I'm doing it, because you were saying, so let's see if both will win out. Because in theory, that should now be the winner if it's that. Whatever. There was an Alien Flintstones, was there really?
There was, yes. There's the little green guy. What the hell was his name?
Oh, God, was that the Flintstones?
Yeah.
It was like this, hello?
The hell was his name? He
Gizmo?
was always causing problems.
Is it Gizmo?
No, not Gizmo. Fuck, what was his name? Why can't I remember?
The Great Gazoo.
That's it. Yes. The Great Gazoo. Yes. He always showed up and caused problems. I thought Flintstones earlier in the discussion, but I didn't want to muddy the waters with saying, well, because somebody mentioned the Jetsons. And I'm like, wait, well, there was a crossover between the two. And plus, Flintstones has...
the Great Gazoo. That's great. That's so bad. That's great. Oh. Oh, yeah, Dune the series. Technically a mini-series. Well, your face was like dead there. What?
Oh, you mentioned Dune, so my face just went... Actually, the miniseries I like.
Yeah, that's what Children of Dune, yeah.
But both the movies suck.
Oh, there's two. There's what's the one with I'll find the one with yeah, that... Oh, okay, they are. Oh, there's the same, just that's weird. The music's great in that season. Did a bit of research on that. I was listening to the other Dune soundtracks and I thought it'd be interesting to just 7 days.
Like Alien on Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Oh, Marvin the Martian. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I like that. That's fun. What?
nothing.
Okay.
Just we're kind of like scraping the bottom of the barrel with ideas here.
Well, that's the idea. We've done, yeah. So just for reference, during this live, because of you guys, I have added Black Lightning, 7 Days, Ascension, Foundation, War of the Worlds, Logan's Run, Aquila, Voyagers, Survivors, Humans, Alien Nation, Avenues 5, Alien, Resident Alien, Almost Human, Continuum, Hitchhiker's Galaxy, Space Weapon Beyond, Rocketeer, Stranger Things, Robotech, Exo Squad, Sequest, Love, Death and Robots.
Love, Death and Robots.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
So I added another 23 to the list. That's because of you guys.
Nice. So we're at the 100-ish mark.
Cool. How many of those are going to make our top 10 list?
10. Well, could be possibly 20. If we go to the list. So.
Gravity Falls. What's this? Oh, animated. Oh, I've recognized this art style. Huh. I feel like I've seen this, but not seen this. That's weird. Huh.
I challenge you to watch Love, Death and Robots. Just 1 or 2 episodes.
I
I think you'll really enjoy it.
Thank you. And yeah, we're
Rich
not gonna.
Klein, $5.
Oh, okay.
Did someone mention Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956 and 1978?
Is that a TV show? You're just doing TV.
No, movie. It's a movie.
No, and to reiterate, we're not doing Star Trek, obviously, Dan, and we're not going to actively go and watch 400 episodes of series. No, it's ones that mean stuff to us. So a lot of this list that we've now created are completely out of the running for us personally, and that's okay. It's unlikely lots of 80s stuff's going to make it in our 70s because of the nature of the beast. That's okay. It's for us personally. And so arguably you are going to find similar things on the list because they are just ones that have clearly gone to the top of the pile in terms of quality. They're legacy ones for a reason, right? But it's how they factor into a list. It's who makes the that's what's interesting to me. And there's such a broad spectrum to choose from. I'm super excited to see where you pick. You know, I don't think I could predict, and that's exciting. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, guys, we hit a good number.
We
You
did.
guys are all fantastic.
Yes.
If you're watching this after the fact, hit that like button if you haven't.
Yes.
And if you're watching now, hit that like button. But don't forget
Or-
there's a super thanks option.
That's it. You got it.
That's what I was getting at. So if you're not watching this live and you enjoyed it, hit a super thanks. Help us out with a little donation to help show us that you love us and that you want us to continue doing this kind of stuff and these discussions because we love having these lives with you guys because they're really fun. So
And
help us any way you can.
And it is amazing that a small core audience can keep us going because you guys do. I mean, it comes and goes. Obviously, we have months. It kind of depends on how good the Trek show is of that week or that year. Yeah, some months it's harder to see that number than others, but we do our bit, and we look forward to making more content. We are sure that Lower Decks, Prodigy, and Picard Season 3, a ton of Trek content is going to come out for that. That's going to be lots of Trekyards, all for free, as you guys know. And we'll keep going if you help us keep going, because it's our job, and that's okay with us. And yeah, you guys have helped us go well past our minimums. That is really nice to see. And then just pimp your live schedule again.
Yeah, tonight at 10-ish p.m. I don't know if it'll be exactly at 10 because I think we end D&D at 10. So it might be 10:15, 10:30. Anyway, tonight I'm doing a first reaction to part 6 of Kenobi, the finale. And next week, both me and Samuel will be doing a live talking about the whole show. So stay tuned for that. So that's tonight, 10-ish. Tomorrow at 10, I got my Strange New Worlds live first reaction. Of course, on Friday is our Strange New Worlds full breakdown at 4 p.m. And then Friday night, I'll be doing the Orville, episode 4 of season 3. So
Wow.
lots of Trekyards goodness and Captain Foley content if you guys care.
Yes. And obviously, Friday, our full Trek Live on Stranger Worlds. Saturday, I'm getting some teeth out. So I might not be able to talk for a bit. We'll see. But we're probably back on Monday doing these things. I definitely want to do, like I said, a Obi-Wan full review next week. I definitely want to do a top 10 shows next week. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I love your idea about top 10 movie spin-off shows. That's a really great idea. And especially if we already have the list in front of us, that would be a fun way of kind of doing both. Because, If we can get this many super chats on that sort of live, then it's a great success. We're not that greedy. We just need our minimum. That's the...
Great success.
Exactly.
Is
Stuart,
Borat sci-fi?
what would you give Borat out of 10 as a film? First one.
Oh, easily a 9.
Nice.
Just for its creativity. Just for Sacha Baron Cohen. He's fucking a genius. So.
This is very nice. I mean, his sister's only a number 3 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan. It's a great movie. That is really good. I got it for Blu-ray for the my birthday this year, I think. I always like try and outthink
pubis and potassium.
What is that? Yeah, I always give everyone lists and like see what they're gonna pick, so it's still a surprise. But I like playing mind games with them because sometimes it's obvious. So you kind of like give people different themes and stuff. And anyway.
No, we didn't mention the Incredible Hulk. That's another one.
Oh yeah, Beast Wars.
Wow, it falls under the Transformer umbrella, which we have. So.
Yeah, but it's definitely not the same as the first show, though.
But it ties into the first show, so it is.
Not Best Wars, Beast Wars. I wonder if that holds
Anyway,
up.
guys, we'll call that there because I got to go get food and then I got to go do D&D. So.
Is your character still alive? Still kicking butt?
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Let's see what this poll is at. Let's finish this poll.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer if you had to pick? Both comes in at 46%. Stargate SG-1 though at 38% still, very strong showing, and Battlestar Galactica at 15%. So
nice.
I'm gonna end that poll.
Nice.
And on that note.
Oh yeah, 9/11 X-Men. That's a good shout as well. That was a good show.
We should do our top 10 favorite Star Trek YouTubers.
Jesus Christ.
Including Trekyards, which would be number 1 on both of us.
It would. Because no one knows ships like we do, and we love ships. There's a reason. So, God, that'd be a. I think Red Letter Media would be on that list because they're fun. I think they would have to be.
On that note, guys, he is Commander Cockings.
He's got a Foley.